signal. I guess it already started.
I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. This is a song that may not be about LSD, but to me reminds me of Albert Hoffman, the man who I want to say invented, but really simply discovered the chemical compound that we call LSD. I don't know what it's called, lysergic acid, I don't know, it's something really amazing. Phenomenal medicine teacher. Yeah, how phenomenal. That quick, nice little ditty and song. Really, at the beginning of that, was experimenting with the voice a little bit. Moving it through, moving it forward, coming into the groove. I was rewatching the video earlier. I wasn't very happy with the channel myself personally. I didn't feel like I held the channel in a way thoroughly for a long duration. I felt like there was a lot of repetitive thought structure and things like this. My partner in crime here affirms to me or assures to me that it was eloquent and quite beautiful and a really uplifting, amazing video. And I think that's beautiful and wonderful and gorgeous. And you'll have a beautiful chance to watch this as soon as we upload this later on at the hotel room that we're going to here in the near future in Sacramento before we get a COVID test and go to Maui. This is what it looks like the journey's doing. So we're surrendering to it, but I'm kind of agitated myself. But this is kind of a normal thing. When I went to a festival recently, I was inside of Natural Grocery Store kind of like upset with the prices and how they didn't really have anything that I thought would be sufficient for nourishment for myself. So I'm like looking at aisles I wouldn't really look in to see maybe something will catch my eye that will make it worthy of me to have even gone to that grocery store that day. And a girl comes into the aisle, super smiley, really happy, and asks me if I'm going to a festival. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not going there. I would love to. I don't have any money for the ticket. And she says, no problem. She has a ticket and a ride to get me there, and gave me a ticket. It was the most amazing thing. It was right after a festival had been in that town. And I decided not to go against myself in order to go to the festival. By sneaking in or doing something clever or sly, something that would cause me to have to be less than myself, a dishonest person, in order to gain what it was I was looking for. And I'm just not willing to do that, no matter if it's Rising Appalachia or whoever it is, no matter what it is. I'll sleep on the hill beside it, but I'll never walk past the sign that says only those with bracelets will pass by here. That's not for me. I'm all about being given a bracelet, but if that doesn't happen, if I can't go there freely in the way that is a benefit for my being and thus for all beings, then it's not going to work out. There was also chances to volunteer, and I could have done that, but that would have also been putting myself in a position of slavery to suppress myself in order to be ordered around by somebody to volunteer and help other beings. Well, what I usually do when I go places is transmute energy for the entire scene. And I really have to be in the breath with myself and really present with myself and really feeling and really moving and really being very aware and attuned, and have to be able to move when I need to move, breathe when I need to breathe, do a weaving of energy when I need to be able to do a weaving of energy, give a teaching when I need to be able to give a teaching, and channeling, whatever it should be called, to share this moment, this simultaneous interaction with everything, with another being. And so I already knew from many experiences that wasn't possible for me without me suppressing myself. And so I decided I wouldn't suppress myself, and I would be just right where I was as I was. And it was no problem. It was a beautiful teaching, no big deal. And then after I decided to just do things the right way, all of a sudden somebody gave it to me, the only way in which I would ever accept it. And it was so beautiful. Right there at the grocery store, I was able to grab all the groceries that I would need to eat for the 5 days that I was at the festival, and that was amazing, and it was really great, really uplifting, some very powerful ceremonies coming into play, a lot of really amazing, powerful energies to work with there, and things to show, and amazing ways to come into self, into confidence with the flow, and get deep into the light language. Met with a grandmother tree and with the mountain, and then was able to center on my own being, bringing myself from the very amazing movements and flows into more tree-style earth tone that was wonderfully grounding and sustaining to the center of my frequency, really bringing me more sturdily into me through becoming much more present with me without the need for anything, without any reason to move away from me, agitating to this desire or that desire, but just burning my own fire, breathing myself higher and higher. It was phenomenal. A lot of really great frequencies came through, moving with the energy of every being around me, and it was just really wonderful. When I go to a place, I harmonize to all of the energies to where they're all moving, and I'm moving in a really tight frequency in between them, so I'm able to work with them and move their energies through me and transmute and do all kinds of really amazing, uplifting, empowering, activating things for the energy of the collective that I'm being a part of at the facility or the festival or whatever it happens to be, whatever sphere of awareness I happen to be occurring with many other beings within. This happens throughout everywhere, and this is what happens with everybody. We're all amazing superconductors for each other. Some of us have cleared more stones out of our river, so it flows much faster, and so we're higher superconductors in a way, and so we can draw in more energy from other things: sadness, pain, hate, anger, whatever the dissonant frequency seems to be, because we don't judge this frequency. It can move through us very efficiently, really effortlessly, and so it can come back into the play of wisdom of all of reality and receive back into a place where it's welcomed and honored again. And that can provide healing for many spaces and many people. It can provide a huge polishing and clearing to the mirror that will allow them to see themselves more clearly, more efficiently. And these things are the transmutations of energy. These healings happen with every one of us. Each one of us being a better conductor than the other in some way or the other. This person accepting this a little greater than that person, and so they're able to pull in more energy. But it would be really beautiful and beneficial for us to find out how to move this energy through us, through acceptance, through forgiveness, through understanding, through the coming into the understanding or the embodiment of wisdom, through direct realization that we see that this anger we've been suppressing was not different than this happiness, and that it was an amazing chord-shaping wisdom that, when added in balance to the harmony of the entire symphony occurring within us, that they never appear in volatility, that they always appear in a way of phenomenal symmetry with everything that we may meet. Really amazing and wise, great beauty, with these amazing shadowic energies, these things that we don't understand and have forced away from ourselves. This is the leading cause for disease and illness, the suppression of our own energy due to our judgment and our lack of understanding, our ignorance, not knowing that everything within us is equanimous and perfect. And so we decide to keep this and to lose that but we have to be able to bring the entire party to the plate to move in a very balanced way, in a way that we will see very amazingly individually, and will begin affecting the entire collective around us and show us that as well externally. Pretty much simultaneous or instantaneous. It will maybe be a wonder if you've caused the entire upgrade of all of reality, uh, due to how much your perception has shifted what you see. And this comes to acceptance of all of ourself, and the allowance of expression of all of ourself. Maybe we were wrong, or we are in dissonance, and maybe this is a tantrum, or some kind of ignorance, but it can be expressed as this. We can be allowed to feel, allowed to cry, allowed to be in pain, allowed to, feel sad and anger and hate. We can feel these things, and it's okay. You don't have to send it in any other way. We can breathe it to the sand before us, the earth, the trees, the air entirely. We can just release this from our being through just expressing it authentically and genuinely, not to anything specifically. Just this expression expressing itself. Kind of like an actor in a film, but this dramatization is true of an energy within you, an energy within me. And expression can unlimit the gateway that has caused the need for the pain and the dissonance, the confusion, the imbalance to be occurring, the need to overtake or to be overtaken. We can see a ridiculous amount when we come into the honesty of our own expression, when we just allow ourselves to feel whatever part of the journey we haven't been allowed to for whatever reason, when we allow ourselves to express in the manner that we were not allowed to. I wouldn't suggest, obviously, expressing volatility towards anything. This would be a wisdom of non-action, of no attack and no defense, an expression for the point of expression, not towards or against anything specifically. Maybe not even for anything specifically, maybe simply for yourself, or however it may be seen. You could also do for the benefit of all beings everywhere without one exception. This is a very simple intention that can never do you wrong. Be wonderful to know what these frequencies are, to see how they move through time, how they begin their lines so very far ago, so very long ago. And when they began, they were just the most gorgeous bandwidths, that they still remain as this, and only perception's viewpoint skews this. All of the energies within ourselves are perfect and quantumous. Every one of them necessary, even in cymatics, the harmony, the dissonance, or the discordant frequencies, they're all playing a tale with one another, one precursing the next. In between each beautiful sacred geometrical pattern or place of great harmony and geometry is another discordant frequency or discordant frequency, and that is followed by another harmony, and then another dissonant, and then another harmony. And this is just the way in which energy is constantly moving. And this is only by perception seen to be negative. But none of these feelings are greater or less than one another, as neither are each one of us, each other, along with each other. And so, how can we laugh when we wish to laugh? How can we sing when we wish to sing? How can we dance in the way in which we've always wished to dance but never allowed ourselves? How can we be naked in the sun and know that we are innocent, and that it's for no other purpose but because we wish to feel the amazing bliss of the sun kiss on our skin? What can we do to always be honest and authentic? And be true to ourselves as well, that maybe we do wish to be in harmony, and we do wish to speak to each other, and so when we have to give up to one another a hard truth, that maybe there is a lot to say with that about how it hurts us and how it's very difficult. Kind of like a parent with a child when they were ignorantly beating them or something like that. This hurts me more than it hurts you. But of course, we do come to greater points in awareness, and we don't have to, again, lay hands on one another. And we may find through the action of this that it doesn't feel well, and that doing this in order to stop this actually simply just perpetuates more of this and doesn't actually do the thing in which we're intending. So the entire chord shape has to be rewritten to stop the violent reflection which happens to be occurring. And it's happening to us subtly, and it's happening to us very obviously, very provokingly, very pure, upfrontedly, or confrontingly, or startling, the opposite of subtlety. So how can we let go of our attack and defense? Well, we would really have to learn what everything is. I'd say that as long as you believe that a being might hurt you, or that you might hurt yourself, even once you realize non-duality, it'll be difficult for you to not attack or defend. But honest authenticity in saying the entire chord shape and releasing yourself and surrendering that attack or defense at any moment to a place of subtlety and humility can change the reverberation in chord shape even if you've begun it. So that's a wonderful trick to know. And there's a lot of wonderful tricks to know when it comes to the route of expression. And you can start right now and begin expressing yourself in huge degrees and actions to each other. And still, this is going to be quite slow, as you may have lifetimes of energy to express. So if you can find a place of solitude, or anywhere, actually, to express this all out at one moment, somehow, some way, that would be super great. I'm sure if you don't have understanding, even if you express the entirety of what you believe your anger to be, it'll build up almost immediately, suddenly, to more, or equal to, or less than, maybe, than what it was just previously. We have to understand how to love all of ourselves, how to understand and know ourselves and see ourselves to be exactly as we are, actually perfectly. Otherwise, why would we allow ourselves? Why would you allow anger to move through you if you thought it to be a demon? It would make no sense. You can lie to yourself and act like you're letting it through, but you might be still clenching, like, oh God, this is awful. Until true understanding comes to show you what's going on with this, it'll be very difficult. Even for me still, it's quite difficult to not judge myself upon the expression of some of the frequencies coming through me. And I'm learning and studying and coming to confidence. I'm hoping that as many of us beings that are already similar and quite ready to go and bloom our lotuses fully and become firmly founded in very strong trees, that we can help sturdy other beings around us, and that it'd be necessary for us to share these amazing experiences through the growth process of their learning, so that it becomes obvious that one, people are ordinary, and that everybody is capable of enlightenment right now, instantaneously, at any moment. And two, just how quick and accelerated this path is. It'll be fast and rapid. The acceleration you begin viewing, especially when we begin implementing medicine ceremony, if that is something that we do. It seems as if we will, because it's the tone in which I come to bring a very quick, beautiful gateway. You see, previously, people were only allotted glimpses due to their selfish nature and intention, due to going only for what they saw to be purity or to be sacred within consciousness. And this was an impure perception in itself, really, an illusory reality that was continuing the perpetuation of a dissonance of division between what was seen to be right and what was seen to be wrong. And there is no right or wrong in the true song. All is here equally, amazingly perfect, phenomenal wisdom beings helping everything be liberated and free. Every single being and every experience entirely, no matter how it could ever be viewed by me or anything. No matter what we're doing perceptually, it doesn't matter. It is the greatest blessing, and to be had the greatest gratitude for it, no matter what it be. And that's a weird thing to be saying, because I do know very intelligently of all the things that seem to be occurring and that are occurring. And it is a great tragedy, and that even be a great blessing to me. A wonderful gratitude do I have to to everything, to allow me to see things to be a tragedy or to be awful or to be unacceptable or unbeneficial or inefficient. Because if there is that occurring, then I'm going to strive for efficiency, the opposites, and I will find these things, and I will be able to bring these things, hopefully in a centered and calm way, in an unconditionally loving way, to benefit not just the beings that I have preference for, but also the beings I don't have preference for. Because if there is a being that I don't have preference for, it's obvious that they haven't come into the awareness that I have, or maybe it is that I am the arrogant one, and that I have not come into their awareness. It'd be wonderful for me to be so humble as to see. And if there is a being that I see to be lesser than me, and its realization, its awareness, its harmony with other beings, and if it's even a global mass that seems to be doing this, then it'd be my responsibility, I believe, to bring upon the world a new awareness that would bring harmony to the great many things that seem to be occurring with dissonance just simply due to their ignorance and their lack of awareness of what it is they truly happen to be. Many of us could really help each other see. It's rare that we have the compassion to care about one another. And so that's where I see a purist mindset, a spiritual egoism or materialism, as Sheldon Rinpoche would call it. I've seen this in many spiritual communities all over the country, and I've seen this just in many places. I've seen so many people in doubt that even if they have figured it out, they will never begin to shout the truth out loud. And so somebody will have to start the fire, and luckily we've had plenty. Plenty of medicine singers being our wisdom teachers, plenty of just people in general showing the way in many ways. And still, there's a lot of things that we can all understand and relate if we can come to a place to really see that there is no enemy, there is no friend, aside from the we that is occurring singularly. And so you are all that is, and you are everything, and you are enlightened being, enlightened action. You, in every way that you will ever be, ever move, in all the many multiplicities in which you do, will always be perfect. And for the highest level of realization and sacredness for each and every individual, there's really nothing to judge. There's plenty of things to unjudge and unbind their judgment. Eventually, we may see by dancing with our shadow after coming to great places of realization that we ask it for its forgiveness. For it's us and our lack of awareness that has brought us to the ignorance, that has separated from us in so long and caused it the harm to need to be formed in that way to show us what we've been doing to ourselves. Because there is nothing else. There's nobody else to be doing these things that have been occurring. There's only you yourself. There's only me, myself. There's only we, one self. Each one of us can take responsibility in a way that not only releases judgment of all beings around us, but judgment of ourselves, where we forgive all of what's here and all that's here as well. We see that, yes, it is perfect, and maybe it is appearing in dissonance, but with our new arisen awareness, we have now the beneficial responsibility as to help it. And we can do that by learning and growing who we are and how to be ourselves. And that it actually comes quite natural and effortless when we release ourselves from the prison cell that is service and ignorant compassion. That we bloom our lotus fully and we keep going that journey, and that we share it clearly without fear for the process of learning. And we do so impeccably with the highest of integrity. Because sharing ourselves from where we are, well, that's who we are. That's what's real. That's what's true. And that's giving something what's real and what's true, a great wisdom, a great key that would help it upgrade efficiently. Even if what you're saying is that you don't know anything. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. That's going to help you relate. It helps something else relate, that it's not knowing something is, well, it's okay. And it's all right to be any way that we may be being. Because, we can see the beauty in other beings. It's harder to see it within ourselves. So when we start sharing our commonalities, the common ways in which we perceive maybe inefficiently or with inauthenticity, whatever it happens to be, wherever we're making our mistakes, our falls, and still showing that, all in all, we're beautiful. No matter what happens to befall us in our path, no matter what happens to happen, I've always been able to see this, even in the murderer or whoever it was that stood before me. It was hard for me to think, better of myself than anybody with such a low self-image. It's really wonderful when we can see the beauty in one another and just hold space for each other unconditionally, lovingly. And also that we be authentic with each other, knowing that we have no reason to lie, that people are actually quite wise, that there's a subtle awareness within us that's communicating much more precisely what it is we're saying than what it is we may be aware of our saying. So we might as well just be true with all the Buddhas around us. I mean, they're just helping us, come into a place where we can finally see that it's okay for us to be free. Yeah. Expression is the way. What won't you do today? Hopefully you won't kill anything. Hopefully you can see that it is yourself you would be killing. And so this will cause you a very direct reverberation, not very beneficially to the nature of the eternity of your being. And you'll also still efficiently help everything in some kind of a way, and yourself in some kind of a way, but you still may have to go through a hard teaching because of the reverberation of that action. You also may be clearing karma, who knows for sure. But I would guide against that nature as to see the very smallest of us as important and equal to us is extremely important into coming to full liberation and resonate with the heart space, embodying that of the frequency of the heart, which